Welcome to Books Change Lives, the Global Book Lovers broadcast here in 2025, where we're expanding National Book Lovers Day into a whole week and we're making it global. Alicia, how excited are you about Books Change Lives broadcast?
Ava, I'm so delighted to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you that are joining us wherever you're joining us from around the world. Today is a very special day because it's not only National Book Lovers Day, but it's also the kickoff of Global Book Lovers Week. And we know that books, they're passports. They can take us to new worlds. They can bring us to new ideas, whether you're the person that fell in love reading books under the covers with a flashlight, that was definitely me, going to the library just for some insight or some wisdom, or just really trying to learn a new skill and feeling like maybe you didn't have that mentor around you, but you could find that mentor through an author that wrote a book. Books truly have the power to transport us, but they have the power to change our lives. You to be here, Dr. Joe. You're a living example of turning inspiration into tangible impact. For those of you that may not know, Dr. Joe is a renowned speaker. He was one of the stars of The Secret. As Ava mentioned, he's sold over 90 books, and he is celebrating the premiere of his latest film, Zero Limits. And so, Dr. Joe, it is such an honor to have you here on Global Books Lovers program today. Welcome.
Of course. Thank you. Are you kidding me? I'm a book freak. Anything having to do with books, I'm there. I'm a book addict. I write them, read them, sell them, give them away, review them. Oh, my God. So, of course, I had to be here for a global recognition of authors and books and all of that. So thank you. I'm flattered and I'm honored and I'm here.
Our next guest is going to be joining you is the magical woman who ran the Junior Magicians program in Magic Castle Hollywood for 50 years, and she is the what's the term for it? She's the enchantress that has really was able to open up doors for many of the magicians that we know today, bringing in on stage Miss Diana Zimmerman. And maybe you can put your camera down a little bit.
There you go. Is that better?
Joe, as we introduce Diana, I know that you've done magic at one point, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Oh, I was telling Dr. Joe that at one point he also did some magic, or maybe he's still doing magic.
I am still doing magic. I am a lifetime member of the Society of American Magicians, and I have been doing magic since I was probably 7 years old. And in fact, what most people don't know is my very first public writings were magic tricks I created and wrote about in the 1960s when I was barely a teenager, and they were published in very small Top Hat magazine and a few others that were circulating. Of course, there's no internet or anything way back then. This is all printed and stapled kind of stuff. So I love magic, and I still love magic today.
And may I say, Diana Zimmerman is actually a New York Times bestselling author of a trilogy, and she's a powerhouse when it comes to storytelling. So this is going to be an amazing conversation. This is all about the power of storytelling. So both Alicia and I are going to step away, and Dr. Joe, can I invite you to be the interviewer of Miss Diana Zimmerman when it comes to magic and storytelling?
Of course.
Okay, we'll step down and we'll make this magical.
All right, just give me a heads up when you need to close or move to the next person. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you very much for making time. Wow, you were involved in the Magic Castle for how long?
Well, I first got there when I was 18. That was about 55 years ago, 56 years ago. And they wouldn't let me, theoretically, you have to be 21 to join the Magic Castle. It's a private club in Hollywood, but because I had won so many awards as a young magician, they let me in. And it was kind of the Wild West back then. We didn't have too many rules or anything. And I was actually the first person to be married there. And I spent 4 years trying to get the junior program started. And my very first show that I did there, I was 19. and Cary Grant, the actor, was sitting in the front row,
Nice.
and we became friends. And he was a big fan of the idea of a lady magician. There weren't too many back then, so um,
That
so
is,
anyway, go
that's
ahead. No, go ahead.
no, that's fascinating. My first question is, what kind of magic were you doing before the Magic Castle? They recognized you. They were going to let you come in. There were no real hard and fast rules, but you were doing some sort of magic. Did you specialize in a particular
Yeah, I
style?
did. I did a lot of different things. I did a silent act, which was, using records and things like that. And I did a pickpocket act, and I did. I think I'm the only lady pickpocket around. But later, you're going to meet Connie Boyd, who's an extraordinary woman who's written a lot of biographies. But I do want to say, Joe, that you are well known in the magic fraternity as well. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. So for those of you that don't know that secret side of Joe. Yeah, so I started when I was 8 years old, and so I battled with the board of directors at the Magic Castle for about 4 years to get a junior program started, a youth program, because at that time, other than a few rare exceptions like myself, there was no way for kids to be involved in the Magic Castle.
Hmm,
Here we have the greatest magicians in the world, and
right.
yet kids can't be involved. And so I battled with the board. It was no, 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 no. One day I was sitting at the bar with Cary Grant, and Diana, it's a shame there's no way for kids to be involved in the Magic Castle. And I said, Cary, I've been trying to get a program going. This was in 1975. He
Right.
took me into the board meeting, and I stated my claim again, much to the glares of many of the older members. And and then got out of there. 5 minutes later, Cary came rushing out. They're going to let us do it. They're going to let us do it. So we started the program. We had 100 kids audition. We took 50 kids in. We've had about 2,000 kids go through the program, and our it's been the most. Except we just celebrated our 50th anniversary. I started
That,
when I was 5, but yeah, it's
that's
been an
amazing.
incredibly success.
Well,
Incredibly,
you had some leverage on your side. Who's going to say no to Cary Grant?
yeah, a lot harder to say no to Cary Grant than Diana.
Right. In fact, he said, leave the room. I'll handle this. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know Kent Cummins from
Yes,
Austin, Texas?
of course, yeah. Mhm.
Kent's been a longtime friend for 20 some years. And
Fantastic,
that's
great
where
guy,
I,
great guy.
I lived in Austin for 20 some years. And I went to the SAM 208 meetings.
Oh
That,
my goodness, yeah. I was
yeah.
just inducted into the SAM Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Just this
congratulations.
year, just this year. I was inducted into the Los Angeles Tribune Magicians Hall of Fame and the SAM Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you still practice magic? In other
I
words,
work with the juniors, and I do a lot of developmental work with the juniors. I know that you're all about achieving your dreams.
yes.
One of my favorite little sayings is whatever your dream, make it your foundation, not your ceiling. And one of the things that we try to teach the kids is magic is your foundation. It's not your ceiling. We just had our 50th anniversary reunion, and a young man came up to me, Robbie Millman, who was our very, very first junior to win what is the magic's equivalent of the Olympics, FISM. It's our FISM award, Federation International Society of Magicians. And Robbie came up to me, and we had I don't know how many kids that were kids that were in their 60s now, because it's a 50th
Right.
anniversary of the program. And I said, Robbie, how are you? Oh my goodness, what are you doing these days? And and he said, well, because of you in the junior program, Diana, he said, I've been able to fulfill my dream. And I said, what's that? He said, I'm a bionuclear physicist. And he
Wow.
said, the lessons that I learned that magic teaches, and this is the most important thing to remember, magic teaches a different way of thinking. It thinks,
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
Not I can.
Yes.
I can do the impossible. I am possible. That's what impossible is. I am possible. And he said, because of you and because of the program and believing in me and believing in myself, I let my dream came true. And so he's now working on several really far out cures on cancer. Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. And
Yeah.
the reason that I've been in magic is that it gave me a sense of the miraculous. It gave me a sense before I understood the phrase zero limits, which is,
Yeah.
the movie and books and everything today. But
Yeah.
as a kid in the 60s, it gave me a sense of zero limits because as a magician, it seemed like you can do anything.
You can do anything. You
And
can do
that
it.
was the beginning. And the other thing I love about your program and how this man went through it as a kid and then came out the other side as a physicist
Yeah.
is when I was a kid and I was thinking, do I want to be a professional lifetime magician? John Mulholland was alive then. And John
Oh,
Mulholland, the
yeah,
editor, the
yeah,
famous magician, he wrote a lot of different
of
books. I
course.
wrote to him in 1970.
Uh-huh.
I'm a kid. I wrote to him in 1970 and asked his advice. I still have his 2-page letter
Oh,
where he
that's
was,
quite a collectible, you know. You could sell
oh,
that.
it's not going anywhere. It
It's
was
not
featured
going
in
to.
Magic Magazine many, many years ago when Magic Magazine was still around. And he had said, much like you had said, magic is going to teach you to think differently. You will learn about math. You will learn about physics. You will learn about speaking. You'll learn. And he listed all of these things you would learn by becoming a magician. He
Right.
did not tell me to become a magician. He was wise enough just to kind of lay it out for me. It's like, Joe, you still got to decide on your own.
Well, I think the thing about magic that is the most important, and certainly the junior program, we have kids that are like two-time Oscar winners. We have kids in every category. Um, I could name off, just rattle off dozens of names, which you've probably heard of, and most of our audience, you know, may not or may have heard of people that have gone through the program. But it really does. It teaches you. You see these kids come in the program, Joe, and this is what you're all about, which is why I'm such a big fan of yours, by the way. And I was really excited when I heard you were going to be doing this.
Oh, thank you.
And you see they come in the program. We have one girl, Isha, that came in the program. She's Filipino and so shy. She wouldn't even go up on stage. She would do her little tricks, but she wouldn't be an assistant. She wouldn't go up on stage. Just incredibly shy. 2 years later, she's now working the Magic Castle on Sunday brunches. The
Wow.
confidence level. She just took third place at the Tannen's Magic Camp,
Oh,
which is a big camp for kids. And I mean, the difference when they come in and kid after kid after kid, regardless of what they've gone into their profession, doctors or whatever, say this was the biggest confidence builder. Because
wow.
when you can do something and you can bring joy and wonder to people,
Hmm.
that's what life should be about. That's what you do. You bring joy and you bring confidence and wonder to people. And that's what I've specialized with the program. That's why I drive home every day. Magic is your foundation,
Yeah.
not your ceiling.
Yeah.
And this is what I did with Jason Latimer, who was our FISM champion.
Hmm.
Um,
I love that statement. Magic is the foundation. That's where it begins.
that's
I'm
where it
curious and I don't know how much time we have, so I might be rambling here a little bit, but I'm
begins.
also personally curious. When kids come in, what's the youngest they are when they
We
show
take
up?
them at 13. We take them at 13,
All
and then
right.
they are automatically made members of the castle when they turn 21 because you have to be 21 to join the
All
castle.
right. So they start at 13. What is the first magic trick they learn that is going to help build confidence?
Actually, the real magic that they learn, they have to be pretty good. They have to audition to get in. It's not a school for magic. We don't teach
Oh,
magic.
okay.
It's not a school for magic. What it is it's a place that kids that have already learned the basic skills can then audition, and assuming that they're serious about it, then we let them in. But the real magic that happens is in the transition from being, doing tricks like this to
Yeah.
doing tricks like this, to
Oh,
going on and believing
beautiful.
that they can become a
Yeah.
nuclear physicist,
Ah,
that they can become an Oscar winning screenwriter.
yeah.
It's the same thing that happened to me. I was incredibly shy as a child. I got beat up and bullied. In fact,
Right.
that's why I wrote, my books, and because of that. And magic gave me the confidence. I was very poor. I mean, I didn't know we were homeless. I thought we were camping out when I was a kid, Yeah, I didn't realize we were homeless. We used to go pick cotton so we could eat, until they didn't have welfare or anything back then. But sell grapefruit 2 for a nickel to buy my magic tricks. But
Wow.
what magic gave me is a dream. It gave me the confidence to believe I could get out of my uh, eighth grade teacher, the teacher at the school, said, Diana, you'll never become. I said, I want to become the world's foremost lady magician. And he said, you'll never do that. You'll be lucky if you even get out of this neighborhood. I
Oh,
mean, first of all, what a horrible thing to say to a
right.
child.
Right. Oh,
But that only 2 kids in my entire neighborhood graduated from high school. That's how bad it was. And so magic gave me this ability to be somebody special. When I won my first award at 13, that's it. I knew I was going to, I saved my money. And when I was 18, I came to LA with $45 to my name and ate a lot of potatoes, and, but that's what it does. That's what it
Hmm.
can do. It's
Mhm.
the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest art there is, because it's something that you can do one-on-one. You don't need an audience,
Well,
really.
let me ask you this question. When you say that the people come in and they're kids and they already have some talent, they can do some sort of magic, but they're doing it kind of closed and insecure, and by the
Sure.
time they leave, they're wide open.
They're
Well,
wide
a lot
open.
of the people watching probably want to be that way on stage. So, in other
Absolutely.
words, they want to be a speaker, especially if they've written an author. They're an author. They've written a
Yeah.
book. They have to tell the world. So now they're going to get on stage. But what if they are insecure? I mean, I couldn't talk to people growing up. I didn't speak to people in high school or anything. I was so shy, insecure, all of that kind of stuff. What would you be advising authors today who have to get on stage and they need to be able to go this way rather than
Well, I think the whole thing goes back to, and this is something you know very well, it goes back to you need to have that experience. You need to do it. I mean, you're always going to be nervous going out on stage, but you need to do it. But I think the most important thing is when you are confident in your story, and not just telling a story that benefits the audience. This is one of the things that I try to get the kids to do with magic. Don't just do a trick that fools people. Don't just tell a story. Tell a story that really makes a benefit to the audience. Like when I wanted to be an author, and so in my what was I, in my 50s, actually, I decided I was going to write some books. And so I sent all my you know query letters out to all the major publishers, and reject after reject. And I had already built a very, very successful company, but I got reject after reject after reject. And I've always been a good speaker, but I said, okay, I'm not going to let them control my destiny. By allowing an audience to fear an audience when you're standing on stage, you're letting someone else control your destiny. And so you just need to get out there and do it and start speaking and talk to anybody that'll let you. So I got all my rejection notices and I said, screw that, I'm just going to publish it myself. So I did. I sold 25,000 copies just almost immediately. It caught
nice?
Scholastic's attention, and they said, Diana, we'd like to talk to you for doing book fairs and book clubs. I said, okay. They said, but your book needs story editing. What's that? I didn't know what a story editor was. I just sold 25,000 copies, and from my car, basically going to fairy conferences
Oh,
and
that's inspiring by itself. What was that book? What was the book
well,
that you
that
created?
is The Secret of the Mist. That it's the first book in the series, and it's sold about
Oh,
100,000 copies now. And
congratulations. That's
there's three
beautiful.
in the series. There's three in the series. But
Yeah,
basically, I just would go, to all the Ren festivals and all the festivals and pitch my
yeah.
book, and
That's
talk
what
to
it
people
takes.
about my book. And then I started speaking at schools. So just real quick at the end here, just real quick, Ava's heard this story. So they said, so the story editor contacts me. Her name is Ellen Stiver. She's the top fantasy story editor in the world. And she contacts me and she says, I love your book. But she said, I really have to tell you, you're the worst writer I've ever read.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Really?
okay. She said, but you're the best storyteller I've ever read. So I'm
Oh,
going to
there it
take your book
is.
on and
There
I'm
it
going to
is.
teach you. I can teach you to be a writer. You can learn that. That's a craft. But I can't teach you storytelling. That's the magic. So she did. She spent 3 months with me. This is a lady that story edited Twilight, that story edited,
Wow.
all the big fantasy books and Hunger
Wow.
Games, all those books. And she taught me to be a good writer. So now I'm a good writer and a good storyteller.
You
But
are a
my point
fantastic
is,
you
but
are
my
a
point is,
fantastic storyteller. You just told a story about becoming a storyteller, which you are already naturally doing. I want to end because I think they're going to pull me off stage here. I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
end by telling you a Magic Castle story. I haven't been there in 20 some years, even
Well,
though
you
now
must
I live in
come.
Northern California and I can get there pretty quickly.
You must come. I'll take you personally up.
Well, when I was there, I went into the library and they let me go in the back where they had some signed books. And there was a signed copy of one of Houdini's books. And I held it as if I was holding,
Oh,
the writings of Buddha or Jesus or somebody.
yeah,
This was
yeah.
the Holy Grail. Houdini, my hero, had signed this book. And the guy who was showing the book noticed that I was nearly in tears. I mean, he was nodding, he was
Oh,
feeling my moment. And of
uh-huh.
course, I gave the book back to him and he put it back on the shelf. Today, I own a copy of one of Houdini's books, signed 3 times by the man himself, and it's in a shadow box display case right over there, so I see it all the time. And if I knew I was going to tell the story, I would have pulled it down and walked it over and
that would have
showed it.
been incredible.
But at some point, you and I will get together, and I will show it to you. I'm amazed. I'm honored. I'm flattered. I'm inspired. Thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for making time. And ladies, thank you for letting me interview her.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility.